Mr. President, I rise today to speak in support of the Peters Amendment 4138 to the National Defense Authorization Act. I would like to thank my colleagues, Senator Daines, Tillis, and Gillibrand, for joining me in filing this important bipartisan amendment. We are a nation that takes care of our own, and we owe our veterans the highest possible level of care and support. The United States is home to over 2.6 million post-9/11 veterans, a number that is expected to increase by 46% by 2019. The improvements in medical technology have saved the lives of wounded warriors who will receive the benefits and care that these heroes deserve. While scars, lost limbs, and other injuries are readily apparent to the eye, there are thousands of veterans coping with the invisible wounds of war. We have far too many service members who are suffering from trauma related to conditions like post-traumatic stress disorder or traumatic brain injury. Unfortunately, many of these have received less than honorable discharge, also known as a bad paper discharge. These former service members often receive bad paper discharges for minor misconduct, the same type of misconduct that is often linked to behavior seen in those suffering from PTSD, TBI, and other trauma-related conditions. The effects of traumatic brain injury can include cognitive problems, including headaches, memory issues, difficulty thinking, and attention deficits. It's not difficult to see how these effects could lead to behaviors like being late to formation or missing scheduled appointments, behaviors that can be the basis for a bad papers discharge. In addition to combat sustained injuries, PTSD and TBI can also be the result of military sexual trauma. Bad paper discharges make former service members who are suffering from service-connected conditions ineligible for a number of benefits that they need the most. This includes GI benefits and VA home loans that they otherwise would have earned and can significantly help them transition to civilian life. These discharges also put these service members at risk of losing access to VA health care and veterans homelessness prevention programs. This is completely unacceptable. We have a responsibility to treat those who serve their country with dignity, respect, and compassion. Last year, I introduced the Fairness for Veterans Act, which will help provide these service members with a path towards obtaining these critical benefits. The Peters, Daines, Tillis, Gillibrand Amendment is a modified version of this bill. This amendment builds upon the policy guidance issued by former Defense Secretary and Vietnam veteran Chuck Hagel. The 2004 Hagel memo instructed liberal consideration to be given when reviewing discharge status upgrade petitions for PTSD-related cases at the military department boards for correction of military and naval records. The Peters Amendment would codify the common sense principles of the Hagel memo, ensuring liberal consideration will be given to petitions for changes in characterization of service related to PTSD or TBI before discharge review boards. In addition to codifying the Hagel memo at the discharge review boards, the Peters Amendment clarifies that PTSD or TBI claims that are related to military sexual trauma are also included. Our bipartisan amendment is supported by a number of veteran service organizations, including Iraq and Afghan Veterans of America, Disabled Veterans of America, Military Officers Association of America, the American Legion, Paralyzed Veterans of America, and the Vietnam Veterans of America. We also have bipartisan support in the House of Representatives, and I appreciate the work being done by Representatives Mike Kaufman of Colorado and Tim Walz of Minnesota, who have introduced a companion standalone bill in the House and are supportive of this amendment before us. Service members who were subject to a bad paper discharge and are coping with the wounds inflicted during their service should not lose access to benefits that they have rightfully earned. That's why we must ensure they get the fair process they deserve when petitioning for a change in characterization of their discharge. Peters Amendment 4138 will do just that. This is not a Democratic issue or a Republican issue. This is about doing what is right and about taking care of our own. I appreciate Chairman McCain and Ranking Member Reed's leadership on the National Defense Authorization Act, and I look forward to continuing to work with them on this critical issue. I hope to see a vote on the Peters Amendment 4138 as we continue the work on the NDAA, and I urge my colleagues to join us in fighting on behalf of our nation's service members.